gonna try to roll this out at 6. My wife and I need to go eat. I gotta run slides at church tonight. So I don't wanna take and infringe on y'all's rights to do the same. So what I wanna do is introduce myself. If you weren't here at Planning Commission that night, my name is Jeff Hall. I'm a local architect here in town. My wife Krista and I have at least 5 generations of our family that have lived in Wilson County. So most every farm that our family's owned in the past has become a subdivision for somebody else to live in, not necessarily by the choice of me, but that's called the way we are in this community with all the people trying to move in. That being said, I am a little bit about me. I am, like I said, a local architect. I am an Eagle Scout. I am the current president of the Lebanon Noon Rotary Club. I've sat on the Leadership Wilson board. I've sat on the Leadership Middle Tennessee board, and I'm very involved in this community that we all live in. I'm very proud of the work I do in this community, and what we are trying to do with what we are doing here is to prevent something that you don't want to happen beside you. We listed this property at a rate of $2 million. Within 24 hours, we had a $2.5 million letter of intent with a $100,000 non-refundable deposit sent to us. We refused that. What that company wanted to do on the property was not something that we wanted to do. There are 3 other national builders that approached us that wanted to do what we didn't think was right to do on this piece of property. So Krista and I have decided to take a major risk in our own finances. And as a land planner, I took and looked at Stonebridge, 842 lots. Townhomes, glorified duplexes, in other words, 2 units per. That's what's on that side of us. The roadway has a required connection by the city to our property. We are legally connected to Darlene's Way. I looked at the size lots in there, the size lots over here, what's about to happen on Leeville Pike, and went with what we feel is a middle road. We are the largest, our smallest lot is larger than any lot in Stonebridge. Our larger lots are all down where you can actually see them at the panhandle per se. We made our largest lots to where they would be nicer for the people who lived right there that could see back to the woods. If you look at this area, is a severe, almost 70-foot grade change from here to here. You cannot see this. Since this is more dense than this is, these people can't say anything about this. We tried to do what's nice for here, but this is going to be less dense than what this is. Ideally, this would have come first, and these connections will be made to Leeville. That will happen probably the next few years. I already seen the development plan for that. What I want to do with this, and I had talked to our planner, Paul Corridor back here, he can raise his hand as our city planner. Chris Crowell was in here. Chris back there is the city councilor for the area in the dark gray jacket. Sue Bonetta is your current county commissioner sitting right here. I know we have at least one person, if not 2, that are running for her seat since she's not running again. Jeremy and Mark both are running for that position, so I don't know if he's here. Mark's in the back. What we do know is, and we heard at Planning Commission, traffic is a major concern. It is for us too, and we're trying to deal with how we can deal with that with the city. Stormwater is a concern. There are 5 lots in Deerfield that this North Fork of Cedar Creek runs right down through here, comes through their front yards and heads on over this. So we are working with our engineer who's stuck in traffic and will be here in a few minutes and talk about any of that. Those are two big things we know about. So what we want to hear is what other concerns you all may have or suggestions you may have, so that the representatives, the planners, and ourselves, I've got the engineer on the phone listening, so when he comes in, he's not blind. What would you like to see us do other than reduce the number of homes? Because our opportunity is 122. 122 is what we can do. I'm doing 68. So what I would like to say is I highly respect all of you. I would like to ask that you respect me. I'm trying to do this the right way. I would like everybody not to fight over each other, talk over each other, but I presume you're hopefully organized enough that you have a couple of representatives that can come up and talk. If not, I'll skip and call somebody and tell them they got to cover slides, because I do want to know what your concerns are. But I do know traffic, which we're doing what we're told we need to do for required cut-throughs and tie-ins, and water quality we're trying to deal with. If it's Hickory Ridge Road, that is a county road commission issue that it needs to be improved. The development's going to happen. Sue's shaking her head. The development is going to happen. Any large tract that you see that's owned by somebody right now, money's going to get big enough by some kid or grandkid in the near future, and odds are it's all going to be housing, because the demand is high there. I'm going to be quiet now. I just want to hear what you've got. Yes?
I have a request first. I am doing my best to take notes on what you all say. So if you would, when you stand up, if you would give me your name, and at least which subdivision or where you live. If it's on Hickory Ridge, just say on Hickory Ridge. If you wanna just give me your last name, that's fine. But I wanna type in your concerns and your suggestions. So just please be patient with me on doing that, okay?
Because this is our first guess at what's the thing. Yes, sir.
Okay. My name's Howard Falcon, and I live in Stonebridge.
Okay.
Okay. So, I guess the first question I have is why do you want to be annexed by the city? Why don't you just stay in Williamson County?
Because what happened is, what is really, I'm proud of y'all for showing up, because when Stonebridge happened, there weren't quite this many people in here. And look at what happened. I'm just saying. While we're doing this, there's two reasons. We bought this property to raise put a house for our family on it. And that's against me, and the tornado took all my trees out that buffer me. I'll welcome any of you to walk up onto this property and look at what you see. It's not what I want to see from my house.
I understand.
And the reason we wanna be annexed is because the city offers sewer and the county does not. So that's the simplest part of it, is.
And part of the agreement that Stonebridge made with me is when the development got to me, I would have sewer access.
Who made that with Stonebridge?
That's a legal document found with the city of Lebanon right now. That was part of the conditions. They also were supposed to plant buffer. They did plant buffer, and their bulldozers about 4 months ago came through and cleared all of our buffer out.
So where would I get a copy of this?
It's city documents, public record. It's legal document, legal agreement that I have with Goodall that they are required to furnish me sewer.
You're very interesting. Okay, because people I talk to don't have a clue. All right. So the other question is the engineer's going to talk about so before we get to the water thing, okay, is that road that you're planning on accessing goes directly into private roads.
Okay, I've heard, is Stonebridge private or public?
It's got a public access.
So the HOA is gonna have to pay to repair those roads that are being used by everybody else. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm just saying is the developer chose to keep it private, and I'm not saying that's a good decision.
Well, it might be a good decision.
It may be, and that's a good determine, but, in part of the condition, maybe they have to keep it open.
No, they do not. I spent a lot of time reading the requirements for subdivisions from the city limits. I can gate the whole thing if we wanted to. Because it stipulates that if there's private roads in a subdivision, that community can be gated.
That's correct. A private road can be gated, a public road cannot be gated. There are block length requirements and block river requirements, and you would have to meet those. You have to have access points for, traffic, maybe 1,200 feet.
And the roads aren't very wide. And right now, the police are going through ticketing if people park on the roads. So if people park on the roads, if somebody comes in and has work done on the house, that blocks the road. Now you got people going all over the place. So, I'm just telling you what the problems are, I'm not gonna argue with you. Open space, do you have any open space, and is it perpetual?
Is it what?
Perpetual?
Perpetual.
In other words, oh yeah, we have this and we're leaving it for, the community to like walking trails and stuff. But perpetual means you can't get back later on and build houses on it.
We've got more than the required green space left.
I'm just asking questions.
Yes, sir.
So, what variances are you looking for in this project? Zero. Zero variances? Okay. You
What does
realize
that mean, zero variances?
We're gonna follow the code, the city's
Okay,
code. We're
okay.
not gonna ask for any changes to the public.
Okay.
Okay, so you realize that on the streets, the only thing we have are minor streets and alleys, we don't have any connectors or arterial streets, you understand that. So they are pretty much the smallest width-wise that you can possibly have, 15 feet, maybe.
Well, the 50 feet is the required right of way, the street itself is not 50 feet.
Well, I'm just saying what the requirements are supposed to be. So, sewers and water, I believe we already understand. I guess we would like to know what the erosion controls are gonna be, if you're gonna alter any streams. And I guess, really, what kind of plans do you have for people going onto private roads that are already in Stonebridge? And that's a straight shot. Because the people in Stonebridge, in that HOA, are gonna have to pay for all those repairs. The city does not.
It's a stub that was put in and we are required to tie the stub, we gotta do it.
Well, that's a city, that's if the annexation goes through, right?
So are you saying it's already through?
We're gonna do this development if we even have to put
our concern is, I don't think we really so much care that the neighborhood is gonna be placed behind us. We are more concerned with the cut through Stonebridge to the neighborhood. And then the possibility of people bypassing 109 when it's backed up and coming through our neighborhood. That's the problem.
Why do you have to have that cut through?
We don't want the cut through. We pay the HOA. We also could potentially get unwanted people through our neighborhood. It could raise the risk for crime. It's a family development. It is a private neighborhood. That's where we're at. It has nothing to do with your neighborhood. I'm a realtor. I like real estate going up. Sorry, but we don't want it through our neighborhood. Do you understand? Like, I think that's where everyone's like major concern.
What I think you all don't realize is y'all are the donut and we're the hole in the middle. Our development will have 5 access points. Talking about the neighborhood that's gonna have the cut through, it's gonna be what I'm developing. I'm gonna have more people cut through. Okay. Yes, sir.
Hi, Elliot Harsh, Bonnie Valley, 449 Bonnie Valley. I got a couple questions. So after watching the video from last time, so what I'm hearing, the original plan was you're gonna build your dream home or retirement home?
Yes.
Was that correct?
Yes.
So now you're not? Is that correct? Why is that?
Well, what we found out is we could not afford to build the house we wanted to build at the time in our lives. In 2005, we bought the property for what it was gonna take us to get utilities and everything up the hill. And we found a deal on a house in another neighborhood that we never thought we'd care to live in, and we bought it because that's what we needed for our family.
So it was your original dream, but then you're gonna make it our problem, essentially, is what I'm seeing.
Let me clarify for you.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, of course.
That was 4 tracks. We bought 3 of them
Mm-hmm,
to sub out and split up. Stonebridge was announced.
yep.
I bought the next one to have this opportunity if I ever had to play this card.
Right.
So I protected myself for the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, sure. I can't, the property rights, obviously, it's been stated over and over again. I don't think we can deny your property rights, even your right to build a residential neighborhood there. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's your connection points. And my question is too, so, let's just say you were connecting just directly to Leeville Pikes, that's city to city, right? Where we're looking at, the annexation line runs right next to Darlene's Way, but does not include Darlene's Way. Can someone explain to me what the jurisdiction of how that works? Does the city just have full rights just to do whatever they want, and the county has no say, or is there anyone here who can actually explain that to me? Anybody? The jurisdiction, does the county have no jurisdiction rights over that? Anybody? Can anybody explain that?
Basically, you're asking, people in Lebanon are Wilson County residents, and they have the right to use Wilson County roads.
Right to use the roads, right, but you're just gonna dump your traffic right onto our road. And we have no jurisdiction over that? Like, no right to fight that at all? So the city can come in and annex anything at any point they want with no controls?
City only annexes when a property owner asks to be annexed.
When a property owner asks, okay? So I think another thing you're asking for is suggestions. Why can't you just connect directly to Leeville Pike? Why is
I
that?
don't own that property.
Can you not ask the property owner for right of way and have a road there?
I'm furnishing 2 stub outs for that future growth.
So,
Not at my choice. We're having to do this because this is a legal requirement of the.
agreed. So and I'm saying this the nicest way possible, I don't really care about your design. I only care about where the connection points are, and that's all I'm here to talk about and understand today.
From Paul, I have to connect to every parcel around me, correct?
What does that mean, sir? What does that mean?
For a street network to work,
Hey, guys, hold on. Paul's trying to answer.
Yeah, let Paul talk, please.
for a street network to work, it has to be a network. And multiple cul-de-sacs. It's the same as a stream system. If you have multiple streams coming into big, that's how you plan for a flood. That's how you plan for traffic. Yes, that's how you plan for congestion. If you spread out the number of ways people can go, you have a system that works better. On average, less cars go through in front of people's properties. The connection from Crowd Lane over to 109 is 4 miles. There's all kinds of reasons, safety reasons, congestion reasons why that's not an acceptable distance.
So y'all are just trying to make a cut through, your future plan is just to make a cut through our new.
There is part of the major thoroughfare plan is to have a connection from Palmer Road, all the way to Leeville Pike. It does not need to go through your neighborhood, but we're not going to not go through or not make the connection. He only has, as far as I know, right now, one legal public right of way, which is Darling's Way.
So, I'm not sure I understand. Are you saying that dead ends with cul-de-sacs are not allowed?
They can be allowed for certain reasons, but
What are those reasons?
if there's a railroad track, if there's an interstate.
Sure.
You know, there's a large creek.
So this doesn't sound like railroad track or interstate to me.
No, it looks to me, just looking at the neighborhood, that road was intended to extend, to connect.
It was so you're making assumptions about intentions very grossly right here.
I'm talking about how planners plan cities and how developers, if the road is not to connect, there would be a house at the end of it. Any other road, if you're at a cul-de-sac and there's not a house at the end of it, you should expect it to connect.
So again, back to my suggestions. Sorry. So back to my suggestions. Why can't we ask for a right-of-way through that property to Leeville Pike?
I got an idea. Y'all pull together and buy that right away.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
We can do something that I don't have to do either, guys.
I have typed in your request and your suggestion. So I have that typed in that we can look into it and discuss with city planners or city council and such as that.
Great,
So
thank you.
for
I
your
appreciate
He
that.
pushed so hard, I'm not that kind of guy that goes off on people.
Then don't talk about being respectful in any of the meeting if you're not respecting. Aren't we here for you to hear our concerns? Too bad that you're feeling pushed back because you pissed a lot of people off.
He was very respectful.
So, what if we plant some
Bo
trees?
Jones, I live,
Guys,
Hold on, I can't hear you.
Bo Jones, I live in Deerfield.
Jones, thank you.
So you just said if it doesn't get annexed by the city that you would put in a step system and build. Well then, if you put in a step system, then it's not gonna be connected to Stonebridge and that'll just be a dead end cul-de-sac that will feed out. So how is that?
the county is probably gonna, Tom Shear's probably gonna require me because that is a connection. Planners require connections.
But if you're not
And that's probably gonna happen.
Tell me your name again.
Alice Anderson.
And which subdivision are you in? Stonebridge, thank you.
Oh, I haven't had it for a while, that's why.
Just to answer the question, the city has an urban growth boundary. Any subdivision within the urban growth boundary, even if it's outside of our city limits, will come to the city for subdivision purposes. So it will come to the city, whether it's
Yes, ma'am.
I need clarity. Why did you decide Stonebridge? And Five Oaks is much larger. Five Oaks, right? So why did you select, or why did they want to build near our community in the first place?
We've owned that property since before Stonebridge was developed. We bought, our 3 lots of 4 or 5 acres apiece. And so when Goodall Homes came in and said, okay, we're gonna buy this, and we're gonna develop this, and here's our big plat and what we're gonna do, we agreed that it was best for us to buy that fourth lot of 5 acres so that we were protected and that we had a say in Stonebridge connections to us. And that way, we could plant whatever we needed to right alongside you all for our buffer. We could do whatever, but we have owned for longer than Goodall Homes has owned the land that Stonebridge is on.
So we did not know this when we moved there.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
say that
Hold
again.
on, Mr. You
We didn't know this when we moved there, that you had bought land there. When we had our home built, we didn't know that you already owned part of the land.
Well, it was 2 separate farms, and we bought it to build our dream home and raise our children on. And we just have not been able to do that in the years that our children were growing up. And so all the dreams that we had for our family there, one, our kids are past that age, so those dreams had to happen somewhere else, because of the cost of bringing, electric and water and everything up to the top of the hill. And so we had to go somewhere else.
So it's
And
a, so it's a money,
those
it's a money
dreams
grab.
happened
I got you.
somewhere else. And now we still had that buffer, and now our family has spent time hunting on that land and doing that type of stuff, but our kids are gone now. They're out of the house, and it's time for us to do something different with the property. And so I'm sorry, it's always been public record that we owned that property, and it was never made public that we were gonna do anything with it, because we didn't make that decision until a few months ago. And so as soon as we made that decision, we started putting things out and making that known. And that's why we're here today, is because today is that second opportunity. The council meeting would have been the first.
So do you have options where the annexation or the cut through or whatever it is, or has any of that been determined, or what is the recommendation gonna be?
It's my understanding, I don't have those options, and I'm having to put a development in that's gonna have to have lots in it, they're gonna have to sell with the issues you all are pointing out too. So I'm taking that risk that I'm gonna have all this traffic coming through my development, just like you're having coming through yours, and that's. Oh, wait a minute, I think I saw this in first.
You said that there was this agreement with public records. When was that agreement made with Goodall?
When they came through their planning commission.
So they did it in 2007, so is that when this agreement was?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And I've got it all,
So they did it prior to selling to any of us?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
They didn't know that, but they didn't tell us. We didn't know that.
yes, sir.
My name's Tony, I'm with Stonebridge.
I'm sorry,
I have more of a statement right now. I'm a police detective in Nashville. As you guys know, crime is gonna uptick right now anyways. I don't know if people are retired police here or anything like that. You build more houses, crime's gonna uptick anyways. The reason we like our little community, one way in, one way out, without the access road to you guys is because it keeps our crime down.
Yes.
You put an access road in there, more exits. So if you put more exits, more entrances into our access roads and stuff, it's gonna create more crime that way. What we're asking is, we don't want the access road. How do we keep the access road from going in?
Well, we should ask the people behind here, right? So that got built with one exit, in and out, okay? So why isn't theirs built with one exit, in and out?
Correct, and you said earlier that you have more, the community has to have more exits and entrances. We only have one as it is.
And
We don't need one, that's all we want. We don't want any extra traffic.
We have 800 homes. We have 800 homes.
Lisa Wiggs, I live in Deerfield on Bonnie Valley. Obviously, our road, Bonnie Valley, is in the county, not the city, and it will not be annexed. That's not part of your request. So, number one, will all the construction traffic necessary to make this subdivision be built come through my street, Bonnie Valley? Number one, is that where the construction traffic's gonna have to come through Darlings Way and Bonnie Valley? And number two, since that's gonna remain a county road, the county, I assume, will have to maintain Bonnie Valley as they do now. Do they have any say about?
Yeah, they've already told me
Are they gonna
that-
make it bigger, wider? Will there, what are they
What my
gonna do?
requirements are from the road commission is I've gotta put a turn lane into Deerfield off of Hickory Ridge. And when we're through, we have to repave from Hickory Ridge to Darlene's Way and down Darlene's Way to mitigate any issues that may happen with the roadway while we were developing.
So the construction traffic will go straight on Bonnie Valley. How many years will it be to build something like this?
Estimate.
And the day's market, as fast as we can get the utilities and roads in, I'm sure that these.
And tell us a
local
little bit
builders
more
will-
about the turning lane. Is there one or two, or where will the turning lane on Hickory Ridge be under the proposal?
What have you been told?
The, eastbound right, resell into the neighborhood.
Okay.
And then a westbound left.
Okay,
Right now, we're evaluating the right of way there to make sure we can.
so eastbound right and westbound left,
Right.
and
Which
then
helps the problem with
coming over the hill
coming
from
over the hill.
Palmer, what are they gonna do? Is this
Right.
a
That
question
would-
for the
that would be
county?
The right turn into the neighborhood. I think we can help that site distance on that hill with the right turn.
Okay, thank you.
And I've made the recommendation to Sue to take back, I think Palmer needs to be a three-way stop on Hickory Ridge Road to slow the traffic down before it comes over the hill. And I think y'all ought to ask for that. Up on right front.
Paul G. from Stonebridge. If this access road into Stonebridge, and you're coming into a private road, do we have the right to barricade that road? If you don't have access?
If you have that right and you wanna barricade it,
It's a private road.
I'm cool with that.
I mean, that would solve everything.
Again, I'm not looking forward to having all the cut-through traffic throughout development. If you can find out a way to block the cut-through legally where I don't make it, I can't stop you from doing that.
So,
We'll look into it.
so the city's the one requiring all the cut-throughs.
Planning by nature, regardless if that's the city or the county, any subject, that's why they required Stonebridge to put that stub out there. That stub out was put from Stonebridge when I said I don't want the stub out and I'm fixing to build my house there. They put the stub out there anyway because that's what planners are forced to do.
What is the stuff on? What is it? What is the stuff on?
Is that road already built?
Yeah, if y'all haven't been back into here, all the roadways are in right now and all the duplexes are starting to go in. This right here is already on their plat. And I really didn't want that. But since that's there and on this plat, I'm now required to connect to that.
What street is that?
What
street is that?
Meadow Crest.
Hold on.
Hang on.
What's, hold on one
That
second.
is Meadowcrest Way back there,
Okay.
Yes.
okay?
This is,
That's part of, the reason why they put that stuff out back there is because they've got all those villas going all the way back to where it ends. That's why they put the stuff out there, because the last villa is literally sitting almost on the edge of the property there.
yeah, if y'all haven't driven back in through there and looking at what's going back through subdivision, you ought to do that.
I just wanted to clarify, if I understand what you said, you're not gonna be living in that development. You already built your dream home someplace else?
No, actually, what we're looking at doing is keeping a few of the parcels. And we're gonna have probably one each of the lots will be owned by our two kids for them to have somebody to build their homes on. And we very well may move into this subdivision ourselves.
After you move to Florida with your big house that you built.
I don't wanna live in.
I'm gonna respectfully answer that by saying, remember, I have over 5 generations before me and I plan on going nowhere but right here.
Yeah, sure.
All right, hold on, ma'am, her hand's been up longer than anybody else, I think.
So.
Wait a minute,
Your name?
hold on. In all honesty, y'all can say this or not. his hand's been up, he's already spoke, her hand went up, she's already spoke. Do you wanna let them speak again, or do y'all wanna take a turn for yourselves? I don't care, but I wanna respect you all.
Let's speak.
All right? Yes, ma'am.
So when we asked about if you could put cul-de-sacs or anything in your proposed neighborhood, and you said that you didn't want all the traffic to have to be rerouted through your neighborhood, that's kind of selfish because that's exactly what we're asking. We don't want the extra traffic in our neighborhood. So if we only have one way in, one way out, why can't you all do the exact same thing? And if unfortunately you couldn't build your dream home there, but don't infringe it on us because your land didn't work out for you. We don't care that you build a neighborhood on that land, but please don't come through our neighborhood. It has nothing to do with us, what you want to do on your land.
I'm not against that. Yes, sir.
My name's Tim Herrick, I'm in Stonebridge. My question is, I understand, what you've explained about why you have to connect the stub out. My question is, are you gonna connect to that stub out at the beginning of construction of your neighborhood or at the end of the construction?
It's small enough that we'll probably do all the infrastructure at the same time, because to bring equipment in there multiple times, so it'll all go in at one time.
That's kind of what I thought. Now, if that's what you do, and given the type of road Hickory Ridge Road is, once you connect that stub in, what's to prevent your construction traffic from coming through Stonebridge to access your construction site?
And they might use the Stonebridge construction entrance and come back in the same way Stonebridge is doing with all their heavy equipment right now. Yes, ma'am.
Your name,
Deerfield, excuse me, thank you. So why does it have to be one community? Can't it just be broken up to where you have an entrance from Deerfield and it stops at the top of the hill? And then, you know, that, you put another house up there, and then from Stonebridge, you put another house at the top of the hill facing in Stonebridge. But why can't it just be two separate communities? I mean, why can't you just do it that way?
I've asked that same question.
And? What's the answer?
What's the answer? You see what we're required to do.
What?
It's what we're required to do.
He is, because I got some nasty questions.
When I paid a premium for my lot.
But did you not see that stub out?
No, sir.
Okay.
And it wasn't brought to our attention?
Figured they were gonna end there.
That
That
was
was
it.
the last development in there, and the reason we bought there was because it was private.
Yes, it's secluded in the
It's
back.
secluded in the back.
With no building going on behind us, and we didn't know what was gonna happen with that stuff. But I don't want that connector coming down our street, especially since I paid a premium to live on that street.
Mr. Hirsch?
Yes, Elliot Harsh, 449 Bonnie Valley. I've heard you mention a couple times in the opening statements about risk and the risk you're taking. Knowing the growth of Wilson County, there is literally zero risk for your residential, zero risk for having a cut through to you, but you're putting all the risk back on us for our lives, for our safety, for the accidents, probable deaths that are probably going to happen on Hickory Ridge, but there is literally zero risk for you. And I've heard you say, well, we might have to keep some parcels for our sons, we may actually move there. Maybe. But there is literally zero risk in, you're going to make a ton of money off this, no doubt, but you're displacing all the risk back on us.
Henry Orlick, Bonnie Valley, Deerfield. You said about traffic.
Hickory Ridge does nothing to the traffic. It allows people to turn in without getting killed from that hill that comes down, maybe. But the traffic on Hickory Ridge now is bad.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna do this cut through to both of our neighborhoods. And how do you think that the turning lane is gonna benefit? And what else? You said you have to repave Bonnie Valley?
When they're done.
Bonnie
Valley is a small road. We have an HOA too, that we're not allowed to park on the street. If two cars park on the street, it's difficult for cars to traverse. People with their children walk on that street now and enjoy the community that we live in. What you're doing is ending that. We will not be able to walk because we don't have sidewalks. So we will not be able to walk on that street. So, this is ridiculous about a turning lane, to throw that at us, that's gonna benefit who? No one. And I don't understand why there's communities bursting all over the place, and they're all cul-de-sacs. They got one entrance in, one entrance out. All of a sudden, your property cannot be. And you're destroying two other cul-de-sacs by making us all connected to each other with what Elliot said. People are gonna get hit, people are gonna get killed. Because Hickory Ridge right now, this plans to expand that, I don't know, 5, 7, 10 years, $28 million, which in 5, 7 years will be $128 million. So I don't understand what you're trying to do here. You're just destroying, your dream fell apart because of some trees you're saying, which now I don't believe that because just plant some trees, right? And secondary, part two of my question is, what's to say after you get approved and you get annexed, that those end properties, you make them into apartments, they're townhouses now. What if you decide to rezone it again and again? And now, what you said you didn't want to happen, apartments, is gonna happen. First address the traffic and the turning lanes, and then, when is that erosion plan gonna be done? After this is approved and annexed, and that's when the tests are done? And you're gonna pay for that, you're the developer, you're supposed to pay for that. But that's gonna be, I don't understand. You're gonna do that after you get approved. You're gonna do your erosion test, your traffic test. The traffic statistics are there already for Hickory Ridge. Hickory Ridge accidents and traffic incidents are high, Leeville Pike is not.
54 on 2020 and 7 on Leeville Pike in 2020.
Okay, thank you.
If I remember those numbers correctly, 54 in 2020 on Hickory Ridge and 7 on Leeville Pike in 2020.
And would you be specific, ma'am, would you be specific with what the 54 and 7 are?
Those are just numbers that,
Accidents.
54 traffic incidents on
Traffic
Hickory Ridge.
incidents, thank
And
you,
then 7 traffic incidents on Leeville.
thank you. That's what I wanted to make sure I had down.
and I just don't believe that a turning lane is gonna help at all. I mean, some people turn into our.
If you can answer that part about the traffic, the turning lane, and the erosion studies, please.
Okay, so we'll start with traffic. So what you're looking at is obviously Hickory Ridge, Leeville, lots of daily traffic already. So 68 homes proposed, okay? So you can't burn 68 homes trying to fix 5,000 vehicle trips a day. The county has a standard. If you put in a subdivision, you put a turn lane on the road.
Right, but that doesn't help the traffic. That's some nice thing, it doesn't help the traffic, and, 68 homes is gonna be about 136 extra cars just on Bonnie Valley.
Where it helps your traffic is
It doesn't help our
it lets the traffic move in and out of your subdivision, right?
Buddy, have you made a left, have you been to Bonnie Valley?
You're making your case worse.
Out of Bonnie Valley,
Also-
you're taking a risk every time you make a left.
That's right.
So a turning lane there doesn't help me. The turning lane is to come in the community, not to exit it. Go ahead, I'm waiting for the answer.
I would further
Good
upon
answer.
that, okay, but further upon that, most of your elected officials, and also your staff throughout.
Buddy, I'm
county-
asking you about the traffic, not the
I'm getting
elected
there, sir.
officials.
I'm getting there, sir. One thing. What they will tell you will ultimately help traffic is the interconnectivity between parcels,
Really?
because you disperse.
No.
No.
What?
Ridiculous,
So-
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
So you're
disagree with
referring
you,
to
sir.
the politicians. You're the engineer, right? You're the,
Their staff, Mr. Porter probably back in.
Mr. Porter, could you answer please? The turning lanes, how is the turning lanes gonna help the traffic off of Bonnie Valley onto Hickory Ridge?
What I hear in this neighborhood, here,
Can you speak up? We can't hear anything you're saying.
I'm very comfortable.
Thank you.
We're also hearing from Deerfield community that it is busy on Hickory Ridge Road. That is why you have another connection. That is the solution to your problem of having a dangerous way out and busy traffic and only one way out.
Sir, it just means that more traffic will be going that way. How could it save us when it's gonna increase the possibility of further accidents? More traffic, more cars trying to make the lefts and the rights onto Hickory. Your argument
Doesn't make sense, I'm sorry, makes no sense.
So, Stonebridge is, what your concern is Stonebridge coming out.
And Ridge Estates, that's gonna be at least 136 cars.
I'm going to need to answer the question. If you want to keep talking, then I'm going to be quiet. Okay. I think the concern is that Stonebridge will be coming out on Deerfield. And we recognize that that's an issue with the safety. It is a county road. The county is going to have to be responsible for taking care of that situation. But having another option lets you decide which direction you want to come out of your neighborhood. Once development happens, and we've seen it happening over and over again, we will require this of every single subdivision. And as those connections are made, traffic will disperse, and there will be statistically fewer vehicles in front of each house with a connected neighborhood. At this point, when you have a cul-de-sac, the person in the back has no traffic, and the person in the front has all of it. When you connect the streets, that traffic disperses, and people will make the decision. It'll be a self-correcting system where you choose to get out on the road where it's safest and where it's most convenient. That's how networks work.
You've had your hands up a long time.
Yes, sir. Jeremy Rich.
She didn't answer, he didn't answer his question.
20 years, worked for the sheriff's department 16 years. During that time, I worked multiple fatalities, multiple wrecks on Hickory Ridge. With the cut through going through these two subdivisions, it is going to create traffic going both ways. There are people going to be coming from Stonebridge all the way through Deerfield, which creates a problem on Hickory Ridge. Hickory Ridge at this time is not prepared for the traffic that's coming, regardless of what turn lanes get put in.
I understand both you and Mr. Young are running for her seat. So after y'all choose one of these two, that's somebody you can talk to. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I just punted that.
So that puts me in a very different spot here. She was right. I talked to the Wilson County Sheriff's Department, and I got the stats for January 20th, 2020 through May of this year. I'm sorry, through February this year. The property accidents on Hickory Ridge Road were 49, on Legal Pike was 7. The injury accidents was 15 and 3 on Eagle Pike, and citations and warnings were 22 versus 19 citations and warnings. One of the other issues is Palmer Road. People are now cutting from Highway 70, coming through Palmer Road to Hickory Ridge, and it's all gonna affect everybody in here. I mean, there's not anything really we can do about it. It's just, trust Mr. Hall that he does the right thing to help everybody. And I know you're sitting there saying, well, Sid, what is that right thing? I don't know either. I wish I could answer that question.
I can answer it. Don't connect to Darlene's Way. It's pretty simple. That's a pretty simple answer.
Look for other alternatives.
That was how I was going to suggest. I've known Jeff, Mr. Hall, for a long time, since he was a little boy. I've known his family. That's the first gun I ever bought from his dad. So I don't have it with me tonight. I feel for all of it. I really do. I live in an apartment complex on Tucker's Gap Road. My brother built that. When he built it, everybody on Tucker's Gap Road was so upset because he was gonna put more traffic on there. It has put more traffic, but he was forced, I'm gonna say this, he was forced to widen that and do the paving in front of it and make it wider through there. And I'm sure Mr. Hall is gonna work, I hope that he will work with you, I believe he will, to work out maybe making sure roads are repaired like I said, I've talked to the sheriff's department, I've talked to, the road commissioner. He realizes that Hickory Ridge is a horrible road, and it really is. I mean, I've traveled quite a bit, and it's going to get worse once Publix is built at the end of it. More people are gonna be coming through Stonebridge if they have an access through there. More people are gonna be coming through Palmer Road because they don't wanna go down Highway 70, have to get on 109 and go on back 109, even though it's wider. I don't know that there is a good answer. I wish I could come up with one. I've been sitting there thinking about it, and I hear all of you, and you all have great questions and great concerns. I would recommend that you get a meeting with the county planner and with the road superintendent. Have a meeting with them and talk to them and get some more regulations. Paul, would that be something that you think they should do? Okay. You know, I'm here to help any of you, all of you. I've got 4 months left, and one of these gentlemen will have a review commissioner. I've enjoyed it. Appreciate the people I've gotten to know. And like I said, I wish we had an answer for everybody, but I don't know that there is one.
Question, if there's all these, I'm sorry, you know.
No, go ahead.
was it-
Yes, ma'am.
If there's all these rules
Yes,
and
ma'am. Yes, please.
regulations surrounding planning, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My name's Carol Pepin, and I live in Stonebridge. Could we go back just a second? You made a comment, we were talking about the construction traffic. I live on the corner of Whispering Oaks and Waterston, okay? So right now, our family deals with construction traffic for the newest part of the development. Do you currently have an agreement with Goodall to use their construction entrance? Because I'm thinking if you do, then I'm gonna be experiencing construction traffic for at least 5 years. And not just Goodall's, but yours too, so I'm a little concerned about that. So I just wanted to know, do you already have that agreement?
What I have is legal access to Darlene's Way.
Through Stonebridge?
No, our property, the legal address of our property is Darlene's Way. So, right now, the connections that are on the proposed plat are ones that we've had to put in as proposals. So, no, there is not any agreement with Goodall at this moment.
So what happens
because-
if you don't get that agreement? Then where is the construction traffic going to be?
Off of Louisville Pike Road. Whichever way they come in. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Megan, I live in Stonebridge. Have you contacted the people that own the property in between your and People and just asked if they would do?
That's the Ketlin Group. There are, y'all been looking at some things with that.
It's Canty.
Canty Group, yeah.
Isn't the property for sale? So why doesn't Goodall just buy it and make a huge neighborhood with you guys, and you can have your own little neighborhood?
Stonebridge would like to put more duplexes on our property.
And we don't want that.
We have said no.
Good.
Why don't you buy it?
Yeah, why don't you want that?
Us buy what?
The property?
I have no obligation to do so.
Well,
I'm
no,
not-
you
I'm
don't
not
have
saying
an
you have an
obligation,
obligation to
but
do
you
so. I'm asking why
could,
not.
and then you could sell it. I mean,
You could have a bigger neighborhood, you have one way in and out, and that's.
I have spoken with a realtor that has
Justin.
the stuff, yes, Justin Davis, and have had people contact us interested in buying our property if they could get that one as well. So I spoke with Justin, and that is not an option. They've got something else they're working on, and so there's not an option to purchase that, whether it be us or someone else, and so on.
Yeah, we've had one
You're
group
welcome.
want to build out on that parcel only if they can get ours as well and go high density through all of it. So we said no to that. Yes, sir, in the back.
Jeff Rickson, I live in Stonebridge. This is really addressing the planning commissioner, and you talked about the flow of traffic and so forth and so on. Stonebridge does not need a cut through to manage our traffic. I think we all manage our traffic pretty darn well. So as a enclosed unit, I think we do fine. We don't need a cut through to manage traffic. So that, to me, that argument just is dispelled. It holds no water. I mean, we all do a great job of maintaining traffic, decency in there. So I see that flow through and that traffic dispensation being a non-starter.
They only have 68 lots and we have 800.
I would agree with him, and I'd tag on to that, I think my name's Gary Byron, I'm on Hickory Ridge. I think in city planning, the fundamentals are that when you disseminate traffic through more streets, you get less traffic per street, right? But in this instance, it's not that way. Because you're gonna add 68 homes plus 862 homes onto Bonnie Valley for some period of time, including construction traffic.
Yes.
And that is not fair.
Do you have, can you give me I'm getting a lot of statements of, okay, this isn't fair, this isn't right. I'm really trying to look for suggestions.
I would say cut through, exactly what the man suggested over there.
Legal?
Stop the cut through to Bonnie Valley, do not connect at Darlene's Way, make that a cul-de-sac, and try to find another way out toward legal. Because that's, you know, you got 862 homes with a one-way that everybody seems to be happy with and lives great with, and you're gonna drop 68 homes with multiple ways out, and you only need one way in, one way out.
And right now our only.
I understand what city requires and county requires. I'm saying fundamentally our way of life is gonna be impacted big time because of what you're doing. I'm not faulting you for doing what you're doing, because that's the American dream, is buy land and build and develop, and that's great. But there's gotta be a different way to do it, because it's impacting a lot of families.
My only comment back to that is that at this moment, our only legal way in and out of our property is Darlene's Way. So to automatically, yeah, because automatically to say we're cutting Darlene's Way off, I'm not a city planner. I don't have that background experience, but I can't fathom that.
So I missed the March meeting, the
Okay.
planning commission meeting, but one of the takeaways I read was that you were able to have to commission a traffic study, is that correct? I don't know.
Construction. We'll have to go back to the city, so after.
I was wondering if that was gonna be done, and if that was gonna be published. But I mean, 2,000 cars a day, you know, I don't know what it is. It's a lot of traffic going down Bonnie Valley that gets maybe 100 cars a day now.
Yes, sir.
I'm Joe from Deerfield. You talk about those properties south of you that have no plan right now, yet you got two stubs running to it. What's that development plan later?
I would presume everything on legal is gonna be pretty dense, because as a planner, you take major thoroughfares and you go density at the thoroughfare and you back off and you go less and less and less as you get away from it. So my take would be those pieces of property are probably valuable enough, it's gonna take multiple doors to make the deal work.
So you tell me there's already no development plan that you connected to?
I don't have any concrete evidence of that, but I know that people have contracts.
Also, back in March, you told me the construction route was gonna be from Leeville, not through my neighborhood.
I don't know where the construction is gonna come from, it's gotta get to the property
Yeah,
wherever
but you
the
told me
legal
it
route
wasn't
needs
gonna
to
come
go.
through Deerfield, you said it was coming from Leeville.
I don't know.
How can they go to that? You don't even have.
Hey, we are at 6:05, if you've already asked a question, I'm gonna go to people who haven't yet.
Okay,
But you
so,
have to go ahead.
I spend a lot of my time during the day having discussions with good
We made no progress. No progress whatsoever.
especially on items where the construction people come through.
I got more questions.
Records like street signs, grass, roads, everything else. So what I heard you say is that it doesn't matter, it is what it is. So the guy comes through a private road, because you don't have any concern on this.
I have no control, I have
Well,
I've got to make that connection, so.
and, you know, and the planning commission, the department, they don't care. So the whole thing comes down to is that, who is going to take care of all the issues if you were given this? Who's gonna take care of repair of all those roads? Who is going to pay for all the damage that's done? You know, construction people don't care, they don't know what the sun is like. So they can't tell the time that it's 7 o'clock and you're not even supposed to be working. Okay? You don't get those calls, but I do. And I don't like getting woken up at 7 o'clock saying the guy's been there for 5 days. So, you know.
My name's Meredith, and I live in Deerfield off Bonnie Valley. And I know that you were going back to suggestions. So with Owl Road, like Henry had touched on earlier, Owl Road is not big enough if you had cars parking on here. I have 3 young children, so you were talking about your dream and your kids, but my husband and I both moved from Murfreesboro because that was our dream, and we found Bonnie Valley, fell in love with it. So I have 3 kids, 4 and under. There's no sidewalks, there's no street lights. So when y'all were saying earlier that your only legal way to get in for construction would be Bonnie Valley going through Darlene's Way. And you were discussing you had to do turning lanes and you had to take the road. My suggestion is that you need to add sidewalks for people to walk throughout the neighborhood, but especially for the kids, because that's a huge concern, having more traffic. And he discussed crime, that's gonna go way up, adding in all of your, condos. My next little question after that is, what is that gonna do to our property value in Bonnie Valley? And then also, who is going to take care and pay for damages, erosion, everything like that that's done to our homes when you were all building, lasting, et cetera, and especially with all the construction traffic?
I'll address sidewalks first, because that's kind of easy. All our county road section, we've talked about that. County doesn't allow sidewalks in their right of way. So they don't want to maintain them. You can put them behind the right of way, but then it's in your front porch, so. That's why you don't see a whole lot of sidewalks in the county. Erosion control plan, you know, we're gonna be fully vetted, go through the city, go through the state. That'll come with construction plans, so that's the next step after the annexation. Obviously, we look at the topography of the site, the stream, you know, wetlands down here in Stonebridge. We take that into account with the layout. So, but that, there's about 3 different levels of approval we have to go through with our erosion control before you put the first shovel in the ground. Any kind of blasting, you know, state law that 300 feet from the blast to a structure. So you're gonna get a notice. They're gonna come do a pre-blast survey, take pictures.
I wanna add to that, if you go look at what Goodall had to do in the back of Stonebridge, they have brutalized that backside to make everything a flat pad. They don't know how to build anything with a slab house. What we plan on doing, if you see the grading plan that's proposed for this, there's a swale going down the hill that we're doing fill in, but there's minor grading. We're gonna bring local builders in here that know how to put a basement on a house, how to build on a hillside, and there's gonna be very little ground disturbance in the process versus a clear-cut flattening of the property.
Well, what about the property value that actually does need?
Okay. Your property values are shooting through the roof. 72% of all homeowners in Deerfield have bought their house after we bought our property. 35 homes in there, 7 are right about the same time we did or within 2 years of having us. None of Stonebridge existed when we bought our property. So that's the fact there. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
My name's Marvin Curtis, I live in Stonebridge. I hear you keep saying that you're doing what you're trying to do. And
not written in stone.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way it was, but it can be changed. And you're affecting a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Tony Adams, live in Deerfield subdivision. I heard that you were quoted as saying that those houses are gonna be $1 million houses.
No, sir.
No.
Tennessee paper.
Here's what he did. He said, well, you know how reporters are. Will any house in your neighborhood be worth over $1 million? And I said, likely so. With the pricing of housing going up right now, at $250, $300 a square foot, it doesn't take a lot to get to $1 million.
Yeah, but you was asking about value, and that's why I'm asking, you're gonna build $1 million house?
There's gonna be very nice, ideally, the homes that will be in there will be of a step up. And that's when we called it the estates. We're trying to make this a very nice development. And the donut hole will ideally be the nicest piece in the circle.
Just square footage wise, what are you looking at?
What's the donut hole? I'm the whole donut. Everybody goes around. I'm looking for connectivity or having new connectivity because I'm an island in the middle of two major rivers. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Pam Adams, and I live in Deerfield. I'm having trouble sleeping at night. I know nobody cares about this, but I have 2 grandchildren. I'm a grandmother. When I leave Deerfield now, that huge hill, turn left, my heart's already in my throat. So I want everybody to remember this night, and when there's lives lost, and y'all know there will be, I want you to remember this. And I just don't see how you can sleep in that. Because it's gonna happen, you know it is. I know you had a dream. Our dreams are sacrificed, and there's gonna be lives sacrificed, and every one of you know it. So, that's what really bothers me. We need to care about this stuff, and evidently, there's not a lot of care about it.
It's all about money.
That's it. That's it. Remember this.
I got a question. This finance.
Hold on a minute. He got his hand up. Martin Frost, Hickory Ridge Road. Ms. Hall, you mentioned very early in this conversation about the drainage from North Fork to Tigger Creek. As we look at the map there, people who are familiar with the area know that 2 streams combine in this area, and then it goes downstream as a creek. And we all know that 4 homes in this subdivision flood regularly. I live 2 properties down, mine floods regularly, it's flooded for years, it's nothing new. And everything west of the Hickory Ridge and the other side of Hickory Ridge Road flows all the way through this creek. And what I wanna know is, I think you've got 3 retention ponds on your plan. And I suggested at the May.
In each low spot.
I suggested at the March meeting that you put 2 more to catch all the water. So no more water off the rooftops and the streets goes down this creek. Any more thought been given for that? You plan on widening the creek in any capacity?
I mean, that gets into things that we don't wanna touch because of the fact federal people don't like these ocean streams.
So the water's just gonna keep running and running no matter what construction occurs?
They don't like that touch the ocean streams.
Thank you, sir.
Who's going to finance this? What name is going to work this way? We're gonna fight this. I mean, I know you think it's funny, you know.
I don't consider this funny,
But you are messing up our lives. I mean, I know the city says that these roads have to be connected. That's bull crap. That's just them saying it so they can build more subdivisions around and create more tax. I don't care. These councilmen, you know, we don't live in the city, so we can't vote for them. You guys in Stonebridge, you remember this when election day comes, and you vote these sons of bitches out.
There went courtesy.
Oh. Oh.
I'm not understanding which property you're talking about, what's left.
Property, like you said, you bought the land in 2007.
I can't tell you what else, right?
So you bought the land in 2007
Yes.
along with, 2005, so you bought it a long time ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Just like the builder, that we bought our house from.
Yes.
Is there anyone, other company that has bought land also? It's gonna be building, so it's gonna get bigger and bigger, you're gonna have your area, and you're gonna have another area of homes, right, next to yours?
I don't know for sure what is going to go in and around that area, but I know there is a group that owns, property that touches us on legal. And
Okay.
there is a family trust that owns the other there's two 36 or so acre plots
Okay.
that touch us and Legal Pipe. And one of those is owned by a group and the other is owned by a family trust. And neither one was in discussions when I approached them back in August. And they were in discussions with someone else. And it was not available to be looked at. The other one, I've never been able to get anyone to answer on that property.
Okay, but in the near future, you know, it's gonna be more homes being built where you want to build yours and where we are now. So it can be very, very conductive for the next 10 years, you know, in that area, in our area.
My take is, and I said it earlier, over time, with Nashville being one of the hottest cities in the United States.
Yeah.
And we have more and more people from California coming in with 1.2, 1.5 out of their little bitty house, and they're buying two homes, one to rent, one to live in.
Yeah.
And our kids can't afford a home right now, because we need to build more homes so our kids can afford homes. It's gonna be demand that over time, maybe not my generation, maybe not in my kids' generation, but do you see Brown up there right now? There will be homes on that
That's
property.
right.
At some point.
So what are you gonna do with your land then?
Well, that is our,
We're gonna have the same problem of having,
yeah.
having
the-
roads, you know,
Exactly.
roads, you know, on your land.
Yes.
I'm Stephanie, I live in Stonebridge. My street, Waterstone, will become like the main thoroughfare. Like you say, traffic's gonna be dispersed through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's not, people aren't gonna drive like all the way to the end of Meandering and back to exit. Like, they're gonna come down my street where I have toddlers,
Yep.
you know, people have children on that street. So I guess my question is, there's nothing we can do about, you're saying on your end, there's nothing we can do about the connections being made. Who can answer me as to where this fight goes? Like, where do we take the fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do we take it?
Here's what I would suggest, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I will spend time with the engineer, talking with the county planner and the city planner, and look for solutions.
Okay, I don't think anybody in here cares whether you put a neighborhood, whether you build a house. We could care less about that. The two neighborhoods are concerned about the connections and the traffic it's gonna bring. It's not
I
gonna
hear that
disperse
loud.
it evenly. I could
Okay.
care less if you build a subdivision there.
And
Hoorah.
I think Ms. Fanata gave us the information of where to go next, and that is to the city and county planners. And to, I typed it,
Road commissioner.
the road commission, thank you.
You might also speak to the sheriff's department, because I spoke to both of them, and they both immediately said to me, "So we do not need more that time."
Yeah. Yeah. So I think those are, to answer your question, I think those are the places to go.
Okay, so city commissioner, I'm sorry, Bill.
The city planner, the county planner, the road commission, and the sheriff's department.
Okay, Mark Young, candidate for the county commission. So Jeff, look at the room tonight. The room is twice the size that it was at the possible annexation approval at the planning commission.
Well, that would not have been annexation approval, that would have been planning commission, the city council would have been annexation.
Okay,
Go ahead.
okay, but in,
I wasn't trying to sneak in.
yeah,
There's a lot of
that's
steps.
fine, I got you. So, that was deferred until they suggested you do this.
Well, wait a minute, I already had this on the agenda to do.
But the residents, this is the first time I think that y'all have seen this or spoken with Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
So, and I don't wanna be repetitive here, but your dream was upset by a tornado, as you've mentioned that.
I'll plant trees, I promise.
Think about,
Plant trees.
think about this, and think about what this crowd is gonna look like at the next city meeting.
It's just gonna get bigger and bigger. We'll
It's
make
gonna
sure
get
that-
bigger. However, look at the number of people here that's upset. You were upset by a tornado. These people are fixing to be upset by development. One of us is gonna be the next commissioner. If it's me, I represent the people. I'm gonna stay with these people if I'm elected, because this is going nowhere until the election's over and the new commissioner is seated. And I'm sure the opponent is, Jeremy's gonna be with the people also.
100%.
But I guarantee you, I'm gonna be with them, and I'm gonna fight this with them. I would suggest, this is my suggestion,
What are you fighting specifically, Mark?
what they're fighting the traffic through their
The
neighborhood.
traffic cut through, the connection.
Yes.
I wanna focus in on what the
Yeah.
connections.
If I gather if I gather everything here tonight, the biggest concern is the connection and the safety out on the Hickory Ridge. I don't live in Deerfield. I've been in Deerfield. I took people down in there this past week to look at this. I brought some people, some close friends of mine that have been involved in this kind of stuff. There's been there's a Nextdoor app, that's been some conversations going on there. There's some people that don't even live here that is telling this group, fight this, do not let this happen. This is very dangerous. There's all kinds of conversations going on. This crowd is gonna get bigger. Let me suggest, work something out. Work with this land that's available. And I know I've heard comments that we've tried and it ain't. I would suggest getting something worked out there, because this fight's not going away. And this crowd, this place better pack their lunch, because the public speaking at the next opportunity, it's gonna be huge.
Okay, so I wanna make sure I get it correct. And I don't wanna leave off your suggestion. But you are suggesting again, the same that has been suggested before, that we meet with someone that has property on Legal Pike to get a right of way to go through
I'm
to
not
Legal
saying,
Pike, is that?
I'm not saying only meet with them, I'm saying
I know
purchase
that's-
some kind of right of way, because this fight is not going nowhere.
Right.
Jeff?
Here's what I would propose, based on what I'm hearing right now, that I would like to see if we can do. I don't know if the city would allow us to do this, or the county would allow us to do this. We still keep our stub in shown to Stonebridge to us, but we don't make the connection until the county does an improvement to Hickory Ridge Road, but it's there to happen. Well, I mean, that's the only thing I can do.
I've met with, I've talked to a lot of the people, the Deerfield people, but I've had many conversations with this back end of Stonebridge. There's people back there who are just as upset, and I know there's Stonebridge residents here tonight, where there wasn't but just a few before. The crowd's getting bigger, but these people in Stonebridge are just as upset as the Deerfield residents is about the flow of traffic. I mean, it's not just Deerfield. Stonebridge is, and if you say, well, okay, we're gonna close off Darlene's Way, and that ends the Deerfield argument. Now, the Stonebridge people are impacted.
And it's, what I think though, it's the 68 lots mixing in with 848 lots. Or 68 lots mixing in with 35 lots. What I'm hearing is connecting these two subdivisions is gonna cause traffic, major cut-throughs and major problems.
From non-residents.
You got two other subdivisions that are gonna be built.
You're saying non-residents
Yes,
will
that's,
use it as a cut
yes,
through,
that is what it,
non-residents.
yes, that,
Yes.
non-residents.
Far back, yeah, blue, you're blonde, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. I know that there's like not a lot of us here, but I'm like one of the moms of Stonebridge, and like it's a very heavily like small baby community. Like I come home and there are kids in the roads playing hockey, like it's family friendly. I don't freak out when my 2-year-old runs towards the road because I know everybody there is so cautious because of that's how it is. So what I'm asking is, if you were in my shoes and you lived in Stonebridge and you still had your babies running around, would this not bother you?
I'm gonna answer you from that same point. When I was your age and my babies were born, we lived in, Poplar Ridge on, off South Mount Juliet Road in Mount Juliet. We lived on Dell Drive, and when we moved in, there were probably 15 houses past us. And then they opened up and started building new homes. So yes, I was in your shoes. I was concerned about my babies. I didn't let them play in the front yard. And still today, that breaks my heart. Because
But you
they
won't break
needed,
everybody else's heart.
No, wait a minute. The 200 units that
for
aren't
you,
built yet at the back of
I hate
Stonebridge
to do that.
are gonna break your heart.
Say that again.
That's part of development. And I get that. I get that it's really hard and it's
Guys, it's 6:30, unless you have a brand new issue that has not been talked about tonight. I've heard it all. Public city streets. With sidewalks. Yes, ma'am.
Especially when there's some premium lots. Why don't they just say, hey, this can change tomorrow? All this.
Is, do y'all require, as the city now, for stub outs to be posted with a sign that says this road shall be potentially, I see that in multiple places. Does the city require that?
We have it in Stonebridge.
Put signs out, not on every cul-de-sac, we try to get.
And the thing is, that's just a new enough development that probably doesn't have its sign yet, but I have a feeling that they're gonna require them at the end of that stub to say, this road will extend potentially in the future. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Carol Murphy and I live in Stonebridge. My question is, and actually it's just a comment. If Hickory Ridge Road is something that is, and no, it is a twisty turny road. And I understand that there's going to be at some point it will be addressed. And in the meantime, it would be more convenient for the people who don't wanna go on Hickory Ridge to come through Stonebridge. But that also means that any of the construction equipment that is required to go to the properties that you're gonna be building are gonna be coming through our streets. We've lived in Stonebridge for 8 or 9 years now, and finally the construction has kind of gone over to the west side. We live on the east side. But it has really been a problem. We just see the traffic coming through all the time, and to me, it looks like it would be like another 10 years until you would be all finished up and Hickory Ridge would be going the way it needs to be.
I sure hope it's not.
Yeah, I hope not too, because it really
Been over
is
10
just
years for us.
distracting. Plus, when it's just gonna be into us as far as our streets. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you being told by the city that you can't get the annexation if you don't have this connector into Stonebridge? That's basically your ticket to get the sewers, is to connect to an already annexed property and connect in?
I have not asked that question directly yet, no, ma'am. I plan to.
Okay.
Hey, for everybody that lives in Stonebridge, just a heads up, Mr. Crowell is y'all's ward. He's the one that's running. He's running in November. So if anybody you know wants to step up and take his seat, we're in the county, so we can't do it. So there's Stonebridge. You guys, let's vote him out. This gentleman right here. He's the one that's planning all this stuff, and his thing is probably financing it. So,
Let me just say, I came here tonight to listen, and I appreciate you
calling me out there, so I came here tonight to listen. I do serve on the planning commission as well. I sit right there. The planning commission heard this request last month. They asked for a public meeting so that you all could find out what's going on.
And
was
only
notified.
five letters went out for this public meeting. You didn't want anybody to show up for this meeting.
We can have a meeting like this every night if you want to. I mean,
Well,
as far as I'm
but
concerned, I
for
don't
this
want
planning
people to
commission,
go
only
on.
5 letters went out to our subdivision.
Can we hear what
So
you have to say
without word of mouth, nobody would have known about this. Y'all would have just passed it with nobody knowing about it.
What do you have to
But
say
since
about
we-
this access road that none of us at Stonebridge want? What do you have to say about that?
So, the concept, again, is for, and not just here, but throughout the city, for there to be connectivity. Okay, that's the concept. Paul talked about that earlier. There's a number of reasons that that would be the case, okay? Now, the reason that we have a public meeting is so that we can get input, okay? Now, we just hold on. We talked a lot, and I appreciate what you're saying, but let some other people talk. The point of this meeting is for you to get informed and for us to have input, okay? I mean, that's what I'm here, that's the reason I'm not up here talking for an hour and a half. I wanna hear what people have to say. Okay, and I have gotten a ton of emails already. You're welcome to send me more, okay? I want to hear what you have to say. I'll give you my cell phone number if you wanna call me, if you wanna text me. I'm not running away from everybody, I want to have the input, okay? And Jeff, I'm not trying to take away your meeting here, and
Please
what
go ahead.
what I would just say, I don't wanna take away from this meeting. I'll be outside after the meeting. Again, I'm happy to give you my card, my cell phone number is on there. You're welcome to call me, email me, whatever you'd like to do. And in the interest of trying to shorten this meeting, if you would, we'll let Jeff end his comments, and I'll stick around and talk to whoever wants to talk.
But what do you have to say about this access road one? We wanna know, because if we're gonna vote you back in, what do you have to say about this access road? Because there's 850 plus houses there. Will tell everyone in Stonebridge not vote you back in.
So you've been listening, what you do?
We wanna know what you think about the access road as our community is concerned.
Okay, listen, let me say a couple of things before I answer your question, okay? One thing is, I live on a Century Farm, okay?
We just wanna know what you think about that. We don't care about who.
Yeah, we don't care about this. We're
Any history lesson, everybody's family, all of Stonebridge is here right now.
I had a rental community come in next to me. I fought it tooth and nail for
Yeah, but
months.
nobody knew about that either, we were in there fighting it. We didn't want to-
I fought it tooth and in some cases, I was the only one. I didn't have a pack room like you all have, okay? And I didn't win. I got run over, and now there's 60 rental houses next to me.
That's what we're.
But do they have to drive through your neighborhood to get which one?
Please, sir. So that is obviously informed my opinion, okay? Now, again, this is a concept. This is not a done deal. The way this is, it can change. That's the reason we're getting input. Now, let me say one other thing, and I'm trying to be fair and transparent here, okay? I'm trying to be honest with you. I can say what you want to hear, and everybody goes, yeah, okay? I'm trying to be honest. My philosophy is, we have a day and a time when there'll be a vote, okay? It'll be published, you'll be able to come and sit like this, and call me and whatever, the whole time until the vote. That's when I make my decision. If I made my decision now, why have the vote scheduled then? I will make my decision then. I want to take not only your input, but the input of the people who aren't here. Okay, like you all said, there's people that still don't know what's going on, right? I want to hear from them too, not just the people that are here, okay? I'm trying to be fair about this thing. And listen, we can talk about this more, okay? I'm not saying that I support it or don't support it at this point, because I'm like you, I'm still trying to learn, okay? But I do pledge to be fair, and I do pledge to listen to everybody, to you and everybody else's. That's probably not the answer you wanted to hear, but that's an honest answer.
We live in that neighborhood, we don't want the access road.
Yeah.
Who else is running against you?
Well, last time he ran unopposed. so
Any
that's
other
why we
questions?
need somebody to run against us.
Okay. One more and then we'll get, I'm sorry.
The sign pertaining to tonight's little meeting was very sneakily stuck.
Yeah.
I paid for the signs, I placed the signs, I placed them where everybody in Deerfield could see them and within 100 feet of my property as required on Stonebridge.
That's fine, we're nobody's.
That's fine, but our representative didn't put it in plain sight for us.
If you didn't see this, all right, I'm done. I've heard everything I want to try to help do for you guys. I'm going to deal with my engineer, the city folks, the county planners.
Got one last.
You got one question, that's it.
Okay, good, cool. Just one question. Are you going to be I know you're the property owner. Are you going to be the actual developer of the residential?
That is what we would like to do because we want to bring local builders in, not national builders.
Have you ever done a residential build of this size and complexity?
I've designed a whole bunch of them and I've processed people working on them and I've got a team.
Have you ever done one yourself
I've got
of
a
this?
team with me that has done many of them.
Okay, thank you.
How will we be made aware of, sir, Mr. City? How will we be made aware of the next meeting and what's the timeline?
So the next planning commission meeting will be next month. The next planning commission meeting, sorry,
April 26th.
The next meeting will be May 26th. This particular item has been, May 26th. The next one's gonna be April 20,
it's posted outside.
yeah, whatever the but this particular item has been deferred until August. It should not come up on our agenda until August.
Wait, what was that? I didn't hear the
He
end.
said no. He said no voting before August. Don't believe that. Check the agenda.
Yeah, just keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open.
I just want everybody to be clear,
Yeah.
this is a developer meeting, this is not the city meeting, this is in our city hall. So I wanna make it clear, this is a developers meeting, not our, any meeting that we have to talk about this that's official, whether it's just discussion or voting, will be a public meeting and anybody can show up.
And we'll have opportunity to speak at those meetings?
If it's a work session, you may not. If it is a voting session, you will.